All right, welcome everybody. Nice to see so many faces out there on a nice summer evening. Before we get started, I need to remind you of the exits. That door goes directly outside. That's the way you came in. And then this goes through my office and you can get out. This is not an exit. Don't go that way. So the first thing on our agenda tonight is a presentation from the Malta Athletic Association. Just a little brief about what the MAA is. They are a 501c3. Is Gary still here? Oh, he's back there. The Malta Athletic Association is a 501c3 that we have a license agreement with to manage our Luther Forest athletic fields in the tech park, softball fields, soccer fields. So Gary, if you want to tell us how things are going?
Things are busy. This year, we took on a lot more responsibility. We take care of all the garbage outside and also the dumpsters, pay for that. We do all the equipment repairs on the mowers, fix the blades, change the blades. All the bathrooms, we power wash them. We pay someone all year, except for during the winter, to clean them. We buy all the supplies for the bathroom and the cleaning supplies. The fuel, we pay for all the fuel for the mowers, the diesel, and then we have gators too. We use regular gas. Pay for all the water for the sprinkler system. Now we're taking over that, and then just softball. They buy a lot of dirt and clay, and then new bases, and then they put in some new fencing too. Soccer this year, they actually paid a little extra for fertilization because we were having a problem with one of the fields. And then we pay for the pest control at the fields and pay for the sprinklers and all the repairs. So basically, we're paying someone to mow all the fields, the girls, the softball fields and the soccer fields. And then on the left, it's like we charge the soccer club and Miss Scotty's $18,000 each. We get a certain percentage from the concession sales. And then we have rentals throughout the year from different organizations.
So this is what you anticipate for field rentals for 2025?
Yeah, that's our goal.
Right?
Yeah.
And you must already have things scheduled for the summer? Is that where you came up for that 17,000, or it was just?
Like, some of it was based on last year. Afrin's did a whole day, 2 days, where they wanted the field, so, and they're gonna do that again in the fall, because they don't have enough space, because so much is going on. And then rentals, missed sectionals, we got money from that. We have camps, we have, I can't think of what else, but, if someone's doing training, we
Right.
charge them too, so. We're just hoping with all that too. And charge the soccer club and Miss Scotty's if they had any other events besides what we anticipated charging them for dues for the year. So a little more sometimes for that
Right,
too.
right, because that was part of our agreement, was that if they held tournaments,
Yes,
they would pay,
correct.
right,
Yep,
rental fees. So that's also included in some of that anticipated 17,000?
correct. Yep. And then that's hopefully will cover all our costs. And then both organizations know we might charge them more, say if the water costs more or, the sprinkler heads were or if there was some major repair.
How does the concession income work at $1,000 when it looks like the expenses would far exceed that? Do we lose money on the concession?
No, that's just, so Miss Scotty's runs it totally, and then we pay for like the permits and cleaning it, but whatever they generate out of sales, say they generate 20,000, they give a certain percent out of what they get for sales.
Which is only.
So we're not doing anything, we're just charging them for the use of that.
And they pay for all the supplies, paper
Yes, they
products?
take care of everything, yes, that's their
And we
separate.
get $1,000 income from it?
Yes, just for, we clean the building, get all the paper supplies to clean it, all the cleaning stuff.
So, do they run the concession also for this, when there's soccer events, Miss Scotty's? No.
They have it open, but
Right.
If someone wants to walk over there, they can. And then the
Oh,
soccer
that's right,
club
the concession is over by the-
doesn't do concessions. They only do like T-shirts. They'll give out at a
Yeah.
tournament or sell some candy. Nothing substantial.
And then these numbers that you have, those are participants in the,
Yes, the town always wanted to know what percentage, so we kind of, like, the first page, the second page where, it says Miss Scotty's, they have rec leagues, and then they also have travel. So
and you, we're,
they're just estimates too, because a lot of times when people register, they say Ballston Spa.
right, the 12020
Yes,
could be
so I-
a Malta resident.
Yeah, so I had to go through a lot of it with soccer, just try and guess at who were Malta residents, kind of come up with an estimate. And it was easy for me because I just clicked their address and put it in Google and then looked on the map, and I know Malta pretty well. So it wasn't too hard for me to figure it out. So it's the soccer ones I know are pretty accurate.
So these summer programs are summer programs that are being done by the Malta or the Ballston Spa Soccer
Soccer
Club?
club, correct. And the numbers at top are all the travel for spring and fall. So a lot of times, some of the soccer camps aren't necessarily run at Malta. Sometimes they're at the high school, some are at the rec fields because they have lights at night. So we will run like a preseason camp, we'll do at night because we don't have lights yet, so.
Sometime, obviously you don't have it with you tonight, I'd like to see more information about who you're actually renting the fields to outside of the two organizations.
Yeah.
So, just so we have some idea, I think, keep Kristen up to date on special events, so.
Yeah, Patty we could just show you who we rented last year and then what organizations. Yeah, that's easy enough.
Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for what you do. Are there any problems that you foresee that maybe that we would run into in the future? I mean, out there, is there vandalism problems, or what's the biggest problems you run into running this, Luther Fields or anything?
I think the biggest problem is maybe people using the fields that don't have insurance, but luckily enough, I've been able to call Andrew Warner. He's gone over and asked people to, like, one time someone was playing softball, someone was doing,
And if someone gets hurt without insurance, that's on them then, right?
no, the insurance is both the Malta Athletic Association, we have insurance for that, and both the soccer club and Miss Scotty's have separate insurance.
I'm saying for people who are not authorized to be, you just said that would come in that don't have insurance. And-
Right, but it's more to protect the town. That's why I've always asked them to leave.
Okay, no,
Or
that's what I'm
had
saying.
Andrew to come,
Yeah.
because they don't have insurance, yes.
But there's also nothing to preclude somebody from going over there when there's nothing else going on
No.
and throwing a Frisbee.
No.
I mean,
not
our,
at all.
our liability.
They do it all the
insurance
time.
covers that. Yeah, and they
Global
should.
Foundries goes
Yeah.
there for pickup games on Thursday nights usually.
No, I just remember, I think it was a bike path that we were getting sued at, someone got hurt on, and,
actually-
when was the map made?
It's nice, that-
Mark, you remember that, right?
it's nice that it turned out that was actually NYSERDA property, so.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was a whole Dabuki dance, that one.
But in this case, as long as somebody's using the park for the park purposes,
Yeah, I don't think we
Yeah.
run into too many problems, because we've been doing it for so long. We have someone to fix the lawnmower, the town helps fix the mowers, and then we just reimburse the town. And if we've had problems with the dumpster people, we've called them, and I don't know, I think we've got it down where we.
All right, well, that
we've
sounds
faced-
good.
Faced most of the problems.
Good news is good news, I'll take it.
so we also will want to see at some point, I know it's early in the season for you, actual financial, reporting.
Yeah.
And, a profit and loss. So maybe later in the summer, and so we know, where you are based on
Yeah, and a balance
budget
sheet.
stuff. Yeah,
We could do something maybe September,
I mean,
once the summer's over.
Towards the end of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever you want, I
Yeah.
don't, Patty has it all done, so takes 2 seconds, because we don't write a lot of checks,
no.
so, all right. That's it, those two things?
Unless anybody else is looking for anything.
Gary, I want to thank you for handing this in. I know it's been kind of a contentious issue, but it's appreciated.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, the Malta Athletic Association is a 100% volunteer organization. So it's all volunteers that are taken. And we were just over there the other day and everything looks great.
Okay.
Fields are looking good.
Yep, I go over weekly, been over twice during the busy time. I was going Tuesdays and Thursdays. Check on the field.
We are working on looking at a grant to try to put lights up there.
Okay, yeah, we can talk
Promised
more about
Councilman
that.
McLaughlin, we would work on that in his absence, so.
Okay,
All right, thanks,
right.
Gary.
thanks.
Okay, we'll start our regular meeting with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First and only item of business we have tonight is to accept the town clerk's minutes from our June 2nd meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have comments from town residents. Yeah, whoever.
Good evening. I'm Larry Halloran. I am the president of the Woodfield Homeowners Association. And our concern is reducing the speed limit in our neighborhood from 30 miles an hour to 25. We understand that another neighborhood was successful recently. We'd like to follow suit.
Who's that? I don't recall us changing the speed limit in another neighborhood.
Up by the community center, I believe.
No, but I believe someone's here to request that also this evening, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah,
Thanks.
okay,
That's all.
yeah. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
So it would be an area speed limit reduction, so,
Appreciate your time.
yep. Cliff has props here, yep.
That was a good act to follow. Thank you, Larry. We have a problem in.
You have to say your name.
Oh, Clifton Van Gilder. I'm the treasurer of the High Point Homeowners Association. We have collaborated with Travers Meadows and the Home of the Good Shepherd on a signage plan that I can leave with you folks to start looking at and then make the proposal that we change the speed limit from 30 miles an hour throughout High Point to 25. And where it is 30 miles an hour in Travers Meadows, to reduce that to 25. They'll bring their own proposal. Well, we'll combine proposals.
Is part of it 25 already in there? Oh,
Yeah, 25 going that way, 30 coming this way. Our problem really is because we both exist, we have a shortcut over here that keeps you off East Line Road, and it's become about a three-way freeway where everybody comes down through from East Line to get down here to Malta, and they come through the neighborhoods. And at 30 miles an hour, you can get through there faster than you can down East Line, hit the light, and come down Route 9. So the other thing that's happening is that we have the Home of the Good Shepherd and the senior apartments where they're all hesitant to go down to the intersection with Kramer because that big mound where the Esmond House was blocks their view. So they come down Rock Rose to go out by the community center. It just increases the volume. Not that they speed, but it's just, there's a lot of traffic back and forth. And there's a safety issue. We have three proposals. One is for the speed limit. Another is for more stop signs, just to slow everybody down. And the third one is for some pedestrian crossing signs because the seniors have trouble getting across Rock Rose Way at where the gazebo is and down at the entrance to the Home of the Good Shepherd. Very scary there because it's short sight distance and people are really going fast. So reducing the speed and getting some pedestrian signs up would be very helpful. And last but not least, I should say, we have 8 different law enforcement people in the two developments, and I collaborated with them to come up with this plan. I didn't come up with it out of thin air. I have a master's degree in transportation engineering from RPI, but working with those guys, they actually deal with it every day. So we have a practical plan, and it should improve safety a lot. There's many more children in High Point and Traverse Meadows than there were. Some of them belong to the law enforcement people, so they have a passion for that. And that's about it. And if I could leave one copy with maybe Jen, and
Yep, absolutely.
I'll get you a
Yep.
PDF by email, so you can circulate it. But Traverse Meadows will have its own, but I don't even know if they're adding stop signs. They're just asking to get all the speed limit down to 25, because they come up Damascus at a very high rate, and there's kids there. So now that
sometimes
the
take that
governor has
myself.
given each town authority to change the speed limit down to 25 on roads that they own, there's no more DOT, no more, just a tidbit. I reviewed all 3 traffic studies for Traverse Meadows, High Point, and Malta Springs. Not one of them recommended a speed limit, except in Malta Springs, they recommended a speed limit of 35. And that was our most recent one. And Roger Crandall put up 25s, which was very nice, but we just need them everywhere,
So Malta Springs is 25 also?
all over, yeah, including an area speed limit sign.
Yeah.
So they're not here. They don't have to, but the Home of the Good Shepherd is very interested in those pedestrian crossing signs as well. And we also threw in the Sheriff's Patrol recommended a couple of temporary speed humps where the hiking trails cross, to further get people to reduce their speed. They would come down like they do in Round Lake in the winter, so the plows wouldn't hit them.
Well, I can tell you right now that he's not here tonight, but my guess is our highway superintendent probably will not advocate for the speed humps.
Understood?
But we can certainly look at the rest of it, and then I'll present that to him anyway and
Sure.
see what he has to say, but.
I think the reduction in speed and the stop signs could very well save lives.
Sir, you mentioned, and you're saying that there is no more need for the Department of Transportation to get involved? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
on all town and county highways, they won't even review a traffic study. They're just out of it because they don't have the staff.
But they have the authority. I don't think we have,
No, they don't take the authority in the town roads or the county roads.
I actually know of a couple of other municipalities that since that went into effect, they changed the speed limit on
Yeah.
local roads to 25.
It's happened
So like-
in every city around us, including Cohoes.
I mean, we'll make sure that that's actually the case before we
Sure.
proceed, but,
Yeah, I've researched the law, and
Yeah.
I
it's,
think some of the towns and the cities just go ahead and do it. For example, Troy, they have all their signs in a truck, they take a sign out, and boom.
but the governor,
nobody.
yeah, they don't pass a law, right? But the governor did pass a law that said any town,
Right.
any municipality that wants to change the speed limit down to 25 can.
That's true, but it has some finite,
Yeah, there's a few.
there's
conditions.
parameters in that.
Yeah.
And please don't use the language in your proposal, and listen, ready, first off, I'm for reducing the speed. I'm with you. You want to reduce all the speed in the whole thing? I ain't got no problem with that. So I'm on your side.
Yep.
But we can't, I've read that 600, I haven't read it, but I've gone through that, the MUIC, which is the manual of code.
Uniform traffic control
Yeah,
devices.
edition 11, whatever edition they're on right now.
Yeah.
You can't use language like using a stop sign for traffic control, for speed control.
No.
So just be
it's tra-
careful of
yeah,
that.
It's for safety.
Safety, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to make sure.
yeah.
Any questions?
Thanks, Cliff.
Thank you.
Get back to you. Anybody else out there? Well, you'll have another opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting. Next is comments from town board and department heads, and I have a couple of things, of course. First, I'm very happy to be able to announce that we now can take water payments for Malta Water District Number 1 can now be made online as of today. I actually paid my own new bill, and it works just fine, so it's nice. So if you go to we accept MasterCard, Visa, and Discover, And if you go to the Water Department page on the Town of Malta website, you'll see it's front and center, pay your water bill. And also, you can still pay by cash or checks by mail or in person or any of that, mail or the Dropbox. That was the single biggest thing that people asked for when we bought Saratoga Water Services, was to be able to pay their bills online. So I'm very happy to say you can do that now. You may have noticed when you came, there is a new crosswalk out in front of Town Hall here, a mid-block crossing. We opened that up, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. We had a ribbon cutting. I'm also pleased to say that it sits right outside my window and people are using it regularly. I actually saw a group of young people crossing today and heading, I'm assuming they were going to the community center, but there was like 8 kids that came across the street and went up there. And so I am actually pleasantly surprised at how frequently people are using it, including a lot of the people that work in this building to go to the bank and stuff. So last, but certainly not least, the New York State Town Clerks Association has awarded our town clerk, Jennifer Holmes, the association's registered municipal clerk designation. And this is a quote from the letter. This prestigious award recognizes the professional competency of Ms. Holmes in fulfilling the responsibilities of her office. So congratulations, Jen.
Speech, want to give a speech?
And that's all I have. Others?
Yeah, I got to discuss an item. I'll wait till we're doing the discussion phase at the end for that, what I want to bring up for that. But otherwise, I want to give our prayers and our safety concerns. Our fellow councilman, Matt McLaughlin, is overseas right now in the Middle East, and we wish him a well-executed mission and safe trip home.
So I'm assuming you, okay, good. Thanks.
He is not cut off from the world. He has electrons.
Oh, he's getting a lot of email then still. Barb?
Since we were talking about water tonight, I'm always interested if we have any update on Northwoods.
I spoke with them maybe Friday, and they had finally gotten the last permit that they needed. I asked that they, let me know when they're going to actually start construction. So there's a bit of explanation about what she's asking about. Northwood Water is a small water company that services about 400 residences in Malta. They have been seeing over the past couple of years increasing levels of contaminants. Right now, they're fed by a well system, and they have engineering plans and now all of the permits that they need to replace their water source with Saratoga County, Clifton Park Water Authority water. So we expect that to be anybody that's on the Northwood water system to see progress there soon. Anybody else? Right? No? Okay, then we'll move on to tonight's discussion items. Got lots of notes, but we'll see. So the first thing I want to discuss is on June 2nd, we talked about a change order for the Maltaville water system. Our contractor had suggested that they found a subsurface condition that was not identified in the contract, the original contract. It was identified as cobbles. So our contractor says that that is more complicated to get through. And so we, at our meeting, the regular linear foot cost in the contract was $73 per linear foot. They wanted $450 per linear foot. We all agreed on $292 of linear foot for the 315-foot bore. I've learned a lot about directional drilling in the past month. At that meeting, I authorized CT Mail at the consent of the board, I authorized CT Mail to prepare a change order. And it was my intention to adopt that change order tonight. But in the meantime, our discussion, Bellamy thought was actually an authorization for them to proceed with that. And so we do not have a fully executed change order because we were gonna, you were gonna give me the authorization presumably tonight. So they went ahead and did that bore, and it was reported by our engineer that it didn't take as much time and effort as we all thought it would, including probably Bellamy. And so, our engineer is kind of disputing that $292 per linear foot. Bellamy, of course, disagrees. They say that CT Mail's assessment of the difficulty was in error. Anyway, where we are now is, I've been discussing back and forth with both Bellamy and CT Mail, and late today, I got an accounting of the hours and equipment that was used by Bellamy to complete that 315-foot bore. It is different than what our on-site inspectors, so one thing is, we have on-site engineering inspectors, anytime they're working, that somebody from CT Mail is watching. So I sent that assessment to CT Mail late this afternoon. I didn't expect to hear back from her, and so I'll have more information about her evaluation of it. Basically, they say they worked more days on that particular bore than CT Mail did. So our engineer will have to verify that that's true, if it's true, and
So they started to execute without approval,
they didn't realize when I sent an email.
and their compensation towards us on that is us saying thank you, right? We're done?
Maybe,
I am.
yeah.
Let, what you do? I didn't want that, right?
And like I say, at the time, we all agreed because we all thought it was going to be more complicated, and he misconstrued that, that we weren't, when I told him that we had not signed that change order, he was pretty surprised, and then I was also pretty surprised when the very next morning, when we had talked about it, and they got it from CT Mail, they signed it and sent it back.
Oh, does he have a name associated with who told him yes? Besides just CT email?
No, it was all based on an email that I said I was authorized to request that CT Mail prepare it. I also, in that email, it says in the very last line that we don't have a meeting until January 30th. So if they need that beforehand, that we could have a special meeting. But I never heard back from them, so we didn't have a special meeting. So I can share all those emails with you.
Question, who created the first contract? Is it the town or is it the engineer?
It was part of the bid package. The engineer probably did, and our town attorney reviewed it. the
So
contract.
in that contract, it sounds as if the engineer didn't advise the town to be a little bit more specific between sand and rock. They deal with these things all the
Yeah.
time. It was missed?
The contract did identify a cost for rock.
cost
The
for
the
sand.
discussion was that it's not really rock, it's cobble.
Right.
And in the end, when they drilled it, it was a lot easier. According to CT Mail, it went faster than Bellamy
So
had let us.
in the past, when we've had problems with our town engineering, they have been pressured to absorb that cost through their insurance that they have. And we haven't even explored that at all.
I don't think that this was a problem with engineering. It was just one of those things where
No,
they-
it was unforeseen. I think we got
Right,
past that.
right.
But what's the delta right now, what they want us to pay and what we offer to pay? What is that, what's that delta? How much money is that we're talking about?
that's, well, I'm not going to say what we want to pay yet because we don't really
Yeah,
know.
yeah, cut the
But
mics.
they originally wanted us to pay $450 per linear foot for this bore. We agreed on at our meeting $292.
I'll do my own math.
Our regular cost,
Cynthia, if I could clarify, I don't think you guys agreed on anything other than
Right.
for them that we would consider the change order that was going to be prepared. We can't agree on something till we've seen the actual change order. So we discussed it at the last meeting. We went through this issue of cobble and rock and unforeseen, and engineering and finger pointing and said, well, look, we need to get the project done. The engineer has been working diligently to try to negotiate a different price. And we had, conversation about this linear foot price. The discussion was intended to be tonight of the actual change order. They misconstrued that. They proceeded with the work. We have new facts on the ground.
Yeah,
And
'cause it-
the issue is for our engineer to review those and make a recommendation to the board about whether, hey, I stand by the fact that maybe this change order isn't necessary, or, hey, maybe there is merit to it. That just came in at 4 o'clock today, hasn't been looked at. The point for the board is we're not prepared to move on a change order tonight until we have the additional facts. So that's how I view it. But just to clarify for the public, we didn't agree to anything. We said we would consider the change order at the negotiated reduced price when we had that full change order. And we had the full change order, they executed it, they proceeded to do the work. And now they're trying to hold to the price when our engineer is saying, we thought it was gonna be a double dip and it was only a single dip, and why are we gonna pay for a double dip when we're only getting one scoop of ice cream?
And that's exactly
that's-
the case.
Which has
She's-
been the issue since the problem
Right.
surfaced.
So Cynthia's been talking to them to explain, like, well, wait a minute, like, we didn't sign a change order, we don't have an agreement. Now, these contracts are particular because, they have different protocols of when we're required to execute change orders for certain changes and when, they need to be negotiated, and the engineer is the key to those, to the contract terms. They're, in effect, sort of the preliminary, not arbitrator, but preliminary barrier that you have to get past with the change order process, and that's what we're dealing with. But more to come, I would say,
Yeah.
when they evaluate that. And I did briefly look at the email today, and, it could very well be that the additional hours and manpower and equipment are in line with the change order, but initial reports from our engineer are that they are not, and now there's new information to be considered.
So it may have merit, and it may not. We'll wait till what we hear from her. The other item on that is, do you have a question about it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, is this change order the last piece of work that they're doing?
No, no.
So they're still in the
They're still
contract,
working.
they're
They're
still
still
working.
contracting. They're still moving forward.
So in essence,
with
this
other-
needs
yeah.
to, at some point, this needs to be settled. and we
At
need
some
to-
point, it needs to be settled.
Okay.
But the-
Contractors love change orders.
Yeah.
That's where the profit comes from. That's simple.
But one thing is, if you recall, we did give them a change order for extra time. They were supposed to be substantially complete by, I think it was June 15th or July 15th. We gave them a change order to September 15th. They reported today that they expect to be substantially complete by August 18th. So share a little good,
Because we've shown a pattern that we've done the change order.
yeah.
On a discussion on
Yeah.
approval level. On an approval level purpose, and now they just jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Anyhow, more to come.
So, yeah, more to come. Well, I expect to have more information on that next week and possibly a change order that we can act on even. Next item, if we're done with that, any other questions or is waiving the late fees for the town of Stillwater regarding the debt service for Malta Water District Number 1. We bought Saratoga Water Services. We, of course, paid for that with a bond. Some of our customers, I think it's like 114, are in the town of Stillwater. We are paying for the debt service for the purchase of the system via an ad valorem tax to our residents. Now, the town of Malta can't tax the town of Stillwater. So the agreement, our intermunicipal agreement, provides that we send a bill to Stillwater on November 15th, and they pay us within 45 days. And so, but the town of Stillwater didn't form a water district in a timely fashion. So they couldn't bill their customers as a tax on their tax bills, which is the way it was supposed to work. They were supposed to collect the tax, turn it over to us. They didn't do that. And so that basically the bill that they, the pass-through amount for their portion of the debt service, the Stillwater residents, is $38,412.13. And to date, we have not received that. The intermunicipal agreement that we signed with them has a really hefty late fees. It's actually prime plus 1% for the first 45 days, and it escalates dramatically after that. So if we actually calculate what they owe us, it's a bunch of money. Now, a couple of things to consider is, first of all, when all of this was going on, there were a lot of moving parts. You may recall that we agreed to the intermunicipal agreement at our September business meeting. Stillwater then objected to part of it and didn't sign it. We adopted it again on October 7th. They didn't start forming the district until then, and so, again, they didn't have it in timely fashion. Their plan right now is to bill those customers in Stillwater for that money. From our standpoint, we didn't really care where they get it from. We just want our $38,000 because we still have to pay the debt, that amount on the debt service. I have talked to Ed, and he has requested that we consider waiving the late fees for that, for this 1 year, single year. I kind of support that. They are a neighboring municipality. It is in our best interest to stay friends with them. What I am kind of proposing and requesting, they also want several changes to the agreement. Basically, their dates. None of the changes are anything that we can't
I
live
bet you
with.
they want to change the late fee.
Well, they may want to change the late fee. Mostly it's dates. They want us to bill them earlier for things, and then there's a couple of other minor things. I propose that, first of all, we don't even talk about changes to the contract until we're made whole. And what I have asked, Steve to prepare, if it's, and the rest of the board agrees, is a resolution that we will waive those late fees if we receive our payment in a timely fashion. I'm suggesting 30 days. So,
We're getting an IOU for an extra 30 days, is that what you're saying?
and we'll give them an extra 30 days as of when we pass the resolution.
All right. So they owe us 38,000.
That was 38,000.
What percentage is prime? Is that a number? What is
Well,
it?
actually, what they owe us, if we do it part of the contract, is $167,668. The original 45 days late fee is $3,200.
That's what I'm saying. It's 7% of 3,800.
Yeah, I mean, prime is like 7%, so it's a lot of money, it's just for them, and I certainly would not advocate that for next year, we agree to waive the fees, but for this year, like I say, it was a lot of moving parts. It was some misunderstanding on Stillwater's part about what was required of them. They may have gotten bad advice from their legal team about what was expected of them. And, like I say, I don't really want to be at odds with a neighboring municipality.
Just one last comment. Because of the delays, which they may have been self-imposed, but I think the critical factor is like us, they're not a for-profit entity, so they need to collect their tax from the residents, and they couldn't bill it. So that put them back, now it's been 6 more months, but they were unable initially to do it. But I do agree that, we have an obligation to our residents to make sure that we're looking out for our finances as well. So getting it paid in a timely manner is probably the most important thing for the town of Malta. And then changing that contract to, we should review it to see if there's any changes that we would require as well.
We haven't, if they've been paying in a timely fashion, of course, we would have been collecting interest on that. We haven't been set back anything. Our payment is not, our payment on the debt service has not come due yet, so it's not like we had to take it out from someplace else.
So on the 30 days extension, if paid by, how does that coincide with our,
We still, we're well within,
are we?
we still have plenty of time, yes,
Good.
so. All right, Al.
I just
You're
smile.
grinning over there.
It's summertime. It's a nice day. I feel good today, all right? Anyhow, we got nice neighbors in Stillwater, all right? You know, and I think when we started this from the get-go out of my mouth, we're gonna run into unforeseen issues that we don't know what we don't know because we never done it. Now, this doesn't sound as painful as, you know, digging through kryptonite that we're gonna do and get charged, but if we get whole here, you know, I ain't
Okay.
gonna.
Cynthia, you said earlier on that they did not form a water district at the time?
They have now. They didn't start forming the district until after we had agreed on the intermunicipal agreement.
Because they've got a lot of water districts down there.
Yeah.
Small
Why,
pockets.
yeah, why they didn't, I don't know. Like they say, this is pretty small potatoes, so should be good for next year. So if you're okay with that,
I'm
we'll have Steve prepare a resolution for next week. And
30
I'll,
days.
you know, let Ed know that I'll wait, this time I'll wait until after we actually adopt it before I call and say.
Duly noted. Yeah.
The next item, on September 9th of 2024, we adopted an intermunicipal agreement that is it's part of the new stormwater management stuff. So we adopted an intermunicipal stormwater management agreement between Saratoga County, the town of Malta, and Cornell Cooperative Extension. Bunch of towns are in on it. In Saratoga County, all the MS4 towns. There are some, basically, changes that coincides and references the current contract with the Board of Supervisors and the Cornell Cooperative Extension. It's just some, I don't even know what they are, administrative changes that we've been asked to readopt.
Yeah, there's
The
no
revised
material
contract.
changes, but we approved one contract. There's now
Right.
been requested changes. All the municipalities and the county and
Right.
Cornell Co-op are on board
Right.
with it, which we thought the last time, but certain changes are now requested. They're not material to the town, and I would recommend that we agree to, you know, do a new resolution to approve the new contract.
Any questions on that? These are just a couple of items that, you know, I just want to update everybody on, my colleagues and everybody else. As you know, we have adopted a moratorium while we update our zoning in the town of Malta to come in conformance with our adopted comprehensive plan and a couple of additional things that are included in that. Just where we are, first of all, staff review of the draft legislation that was based on the recommendations that we made after our series of workshops. Bartonell and Jews prepared. It's the review by our planning staff is nearly complete of that legislation. Another item that, of course, we've been looking at is our Plan Development District legislation. For anybody that may not know, plan developments are it's basically a request for a rezoning. So if somebody has a project that they want to put someplace, it doesn't conform with the zoning, they come to the town board, it's fully the decision of the town board, and say, we'd like to put this here, and the town board can say, okay, or they can say, no, it's a lot more complicated than that. Anyway, we have all agreed that our PDD legislation needs some significant updating, and so staff is actually working on that. We're working on that internally, because we felt like we were better prepared to do that. And then the other thing is Floria is, our form-based code expert is working on updates that we've had recommended to the form-based code. All of that is moving forward. It's all moving forward at a good pace. Internally, we've decided to put a deadline, and I think we're easily going to make that, to have this work done, all of the review work done by August 1st. Once that's done, we'll schedule a workshop or workshops with this board to review all of that stuff. And then I anticipate that we'll host another public information session to make sure that the public is up to date and has a chance to comment. Obviously, we also will have to have a public hearing, and it'll all have to be referred to the Saratoga County Planning Board. I expect that the public hearing and the information session and the workshops will be August, September work. And then hopefully we'll be on track to button this thing up by sometime in October. So that's the progress on that. Anybody have any questions? Another thing that we've asked Barton and LaJudas to look into on our behalf is to write some proposed legislation for solar regulations. We haven't seen that yet. I'll see if I can get an update from them next week about where they are on that. Because the town of Malta, solar is not addressed in our code, so it's presumed to be not an allowed use, but obviously there's a lot of pressure to build solar, so I
It
think it's time
is,
for us to regulate
It's
it.
on a smaller scale, though. It is, but on a smaller scale. Okay, so when are we gonna see the results that they
I-
come up with after
I,
5 months?
everybody, we all got together and agreed on an August 1st deadline for the, review of everything and, with the changes, the PDD language and the form-based code and all that. So we'll know more, like I say, I think we're easily on track to make that August 1st deadline. So, that, like I say, then we'll start with another workshop or
Is there
workshops.
Gonna be any workshops on the PDDs and the
Right.
benefits there?
Once we have all of that set, we'll have workshops and public information sessions and public hearings and all that needs to be done.
Thank you.
Yep. Now, update on, I get asked almost every day about what's going on down by the lake. We purchased property down by Saratoga Lake, and we're trying to make it a park. I'm happy to report it's starting to look like a park. A couple of things have happened in the past couple of weeks. The parking lot has been paved and striped, and additional fencing is up. There still needs more fencing to be done down there. We had an asbestos report on the building that still remains standing. It's been reported that there is no asbestos in that building, so it can be demolished. We're going to send out requests for proposals for that demolition. We expect that to be done sometime in the fall of 2025. For temporarily building, our Buildings and Grounds Department will put up fencing around the building until then to secure it. It's been boarded up and, got the big red X on it, and so, but I think we need additional fencing, so nobody tries to mess with it. There's still some minor cleanup that needs to be done down there, some, trimming. We did have a lot of trees removed a couple of months ago. And Buildings and Grounds will be working on doing some of the additional cleanup this week. The one thing that's the biggest holdup for us right now is we need a DEC permit to do work that needs to be done on the shoreline. We had the engineering work done to tell us what we need to do. They filled out the DEC permit. After they filled out the DEC permit for us, they told us we need a letter from SHPO that says that there's no archaeological stuff down there. So now we're waiting for the letter to be able to go in. So they have told me at the DEC that once they get the application, they will expedite it. So hopefully, we can get that work done and get the shore work that we need done down there. Throw a couple picnic tables and take the barrels out, hopefully, sometime soon.
And a porta potty.
What'd you say?
And a porta potty.
When you see the porta potty down there, you'll
Then you
know.
know you're ready to go.
Any questions?
I'm stuck on the porta potty.
I am rather concerned about taking that house down. It looks like hell right now. It's all boarded up, and we've discussed this in the past. I've talked to the engineer ahead of when I heard that it was going to be taken down, and the only valid reason that I've heard it has mold.
Oh, Craig,
I've been down there. I've seen it. Structurally, it's fine. The foundation is fine. The other thing that really concerns me, and I've contacted the engineer, and he hasn't returned the phone call, which is very strange. They went through that. They never intended to take that building down. Now, all of a sudden, It's been reviewed by Terry, yourself, and some others saying it's not structurally sound. There's a totally disconnect between a licensed engineer and a landscaper.
I don't think anybody's saying that it's not,
So what I'm saying is, at this time, I'm a no on taking that down until I see a licensed engineer came back and said, he screwed up once, and now he wants to change it.
I don't think anybody's saying that it's not structurally sound. It is, well, first of all, it's been now vacant for, and closed up for 3 years.
Created a lot of those
Maybe more.
problems.
And so it is full of mold, which is, of course, problematic. It also is of really no real use to us because it's not ADA compliant. In order to make it ADA compliant, it would require extensive renovation. In order to make it useful for us at all, it would require extensive renovation. So,
I want to find the cost on how much we're going to spend taking that down. In full, I want engineers review, and I'm going to have a total conversation with Joe about his screw up, if he screwed up.
okay.
That's how I stand right now.
What do you propose to do with the building? If it
You
stayed
know
up?
what? It's a bathroom. We would end up taking that down and putting something else up at a greater expense. Taking it down is a huge expense. Its foundation is fine. There's a water table that is high there anyways. It doesn't even have to have a furnace in it. It would be a great bathrooms
So then,
and small offices. You don't have to use the second floor. The Round Lake Library has a second floor. They don't have an elevator. We don't have to use it for that.
so you're really suggesting an analysis of looking at the cost of tearing it down versus the cost of repurposing it for something else?
I think they would probably be very close.
Okay.
And
I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were asking
yeah,
for.
and the thing is when we first bought that property, it was never intended to be taken down. And it is an eyesore.
I agree with you.
That's our
It
fault.
wasn't initially taken down, otherwise it would have been taken down. But if I put my 10-year goggles on, I'd like to see that thing gone and something else there. If, ready, nothing's better than that thing, so, again,
And I think we can use the better, I mean,
if you look long-term,
Right.
that is not an answer for anything.
we can't open that up for public restrooms, that's for sure, because it definitely is not ADA compliant. And
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot in
Yeah,
this
I know.
town.
Right. We should have some. We should be, I think it would be a lot more attractive as parkland. It's got a nice little alcove shrubbery
We
stuff
were
there.
supposed to get a committee set up to define what that was like. Recently, I was told that never even happened.
We did meet.
I haven't heard.
We did early on meet with the same task group, and, I mean, it includes pretty much everybody that, Kristen and Terry and Melissa and Floria and Jamie and.
I was
don't
told
know.
I can't even be on a committee in town. So,
Yeah, well, but, I mean, I think it's premature for us to have a committee for what's going on down there now. I do think that the next phase, when we're going to hopefully make some improvements, we do want to apply for grants in the fall to make what other amenity improvements that a committee or this board ultimately decides we want to have. If we want to have a interpretive center, bathrooms, a
on
pier.
another note,
So,
um,
right now, we're just trying to get a couple picnic tables down there, Craig.
well, Curtis Lumber has applied to supply them, and there's been a company that has approached me about doing a land lease down there, which he has an idea, and it could benefit the town, it could benefit the park. And I think he's going to be starting that conversation soon. It's a very interesting concept and would actually help our town, I think. Instead of having 2 picnic tables down there, has something else also.
Well, we're not doing anything till we get the DEC permit, so, because that's the first step. Any other comments? This last little item, we have graphics for. I didn't put a lot of information on there because it's kind of complicated to explain. Kelts Drive easement. So if you know where Kelts Drive is, picture the Starbucks, which I wrote it on there, on the map on the right. Everything's kind of hard to see. So they're building the Chipotle down behind basically behind the Starbucks. So the Starbucks, I need a pointer, is down on the map to the right, it's down in the very bottom corner there. And when the property owner conveyed the land for the Chipotle, they failed to provide an easement for a little triangle that maybe Steve can point to up there too, that's also highlighted, but that little triangle, on the plans, thank you, Vanna. It actually is in the right-of-way for the proposed road. So Kelts Drive will kind of curve around back there and ultimately, hopefully, go behind the cemetery. So that road, that little triangle is in the easement, or is in the right-of-way for the future road. So what our attorney and their attorney have worked out is to get on that little triangle of land where the Chipotle is being constructed, to enter into an easement agreement for the road. You know, that, like I say, that piece should have been taken care of when they conveyed that property to Chipotle, but it didn't happen. And eventually, the right-of-way of the road will encroach on it. So it's kind of a simple little thing, but it's one of those things that lawyers looked at it and said, man, we got to do this. So blame the lawyers. Anything else you want to add, Steve?
No, we're just waiting on some final comments to the actual language, and I'm hopeful to have an actual easement to approve next week. But I'm still waiting to hear back from the attorney for the landowner.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? Don't ask me when the Chipotle is going to be open. I don't know.
What's that?
Don't ask me when the Chipotle is going to be open.
No, I was just going to say, let's hope we just make sure the language is better than the language we used across the street. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well noted, thank you.
Duly noted.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand.
I'm on it.
Steve, do what you do best, buddy. Make it happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, I do. I got something. We had talked about it last October during the budget meeting and stuff to realign, restructure our pay, for our employees to make it more compatible with our surrounding, neighbors like Stillwater, right? And so I'm going to be looking, instead of, I know we looked outside for a consultant, but the price was over $50K. And so in the meantime of just kicking the can down the road, I'm going to propose a resolution by next meeting to just do at least 2 targeted pay increases, and that's to make fill the deputy clerk position with Ms. Crandall, and then Adrian Cretel, they'll also get a raise because of his increased credentialed and stormwater and planning. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. That's what I'm looking at. Probably around a $3 raise, $3 to $2 raise for each individual, and title designation of the head of the new deputy clerk position from the justice section. That's all I got. So I'll get with you, Stephen. I tried calling you today, but you were busy today.
Sorry, Mr. Carlisle.
I certainly agree with you that both of those individuals are worthy. I think there are other individuals also working for the town that are worthy. Personally, I would prefer to have this discussion during the budget process. Just so you know, we're kind of slogging through what I have. We did get comparisons from other municipalities, so we're trying to compare jobs with I think, Half Moon and Clifton Park, which are both bigger, but our other comparable towns are Milton, Wilton, the town of Ballston, and then, so we're trying to line those jobs up. I have the town of Milton's salary study, so we are still trying to slog through on our own with,
Oh, this is not fire and forget. This, I just think we should start at least incrementally instead of waiting for the big, big beautiful plan to happen, and, that's getting kicked down the road a little bit.
my other biggest concern is that then there are other employees, and they,
don't know how-
they might be disgruntled.
Well, that's why we have it out here in the open, and that's why we vote. That's the whole purpose, and to have staff meetings, and more people are, instead of just saying, hey, you've been here for, for 10 years, and now you're getting a rate, and then we got some guys who are well above and beyond, that should be commended and compensated. I mean, that's just a person's thought.
I would also support that. It's overdue, and we have a history of handing out substantial increases without that consultant coming in. On the other hand, while we're talking about ADA down at the park, we went through and had a full survey of the town done. We had some engineering drawings proposed. We got quotes. We have a courthouse out there that is full of ADA non-compliance. Are we gonna just take that building down and construct our new courthouse, or did we waste all those funds on our engineering study and just stop the whole process?
Well, we're still looking for money. You do know that the total cost of the proposal for the new court was almost $6 million.
Yeah.
We don't
That's
have
probably
$6 million.
underestimated.
It may be. And I mean, basically, the cost was so prohibitive that we are, trying to look for other alternatives. Our grants coordinator, who's not here, has a couple of ideas about maybe ways forward. And we're looking for grants, but, so far, we haven't really come up with anything that is viable. I do have a communication going with the dormitory authority. Sometimes they have options.
Yeah, they do.
But I haven't really gotten too far with that yet either, so. Yeah, the problem with court is money.
As long as I'm updated on it, because I am concerned about these constant architectural studies that town has done. I've been around here long enough that I can say there's many studies in that office, thousands and thousands of dollars, that never went anywhere.
Oh, probably
And that
tens of
concerns
thousands
me.
of dollars, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Thousands and thousands of dollars
They're all in my closet.
over 12 years. A lot of consultants. So,
Yeah, we were pretty shocked. I mean, we expected a $2 million price tag, and it was three times that, so. Anything else before this board tonight? That's another opportunity for the public to make any public comments, if anybody has anything.
Just curious.
Cliff, yeah, you gotta come to the microphone so those at home can hear you.
excuse me.
Just curious, discussion of the Stillwater back charges. Are those residents paying for the water they're having now?
Yes, we're billing them directly for their usage. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're not,
yeah.
when you don't pay here, you disconnect.
Yeah, well, we have yet to disconnect anyone, but, yes, we bill, that was part of the intermunicipal agreement that we, was one of the things that Stillwater, really insisted on. We bill them for their water. And, the one thing that did work okay is if they don't pay, then we can send the re-levy to the town of Stillwater, and they did re-levy the arrears, and we did get that money back, so, yep. Anybody else? I don't think that microphone's on, Woody.
Hello? Okay, Woody Sloat, one of the two judges here in the town of Malta. I want to thank both councilmen for bringing up the situation at the court. One, the proposal or the request to have the one clerk promoted to deputy clerk, that position was previously filled and it's been vacant for a while. It's not a new position. It's one, the woman who works there has been there over 20 years and she's doing the job. That's number one, to clarify that. Number two, the ADA situation at the court, the money has always been the issue. That goes all the way back to 2012 when the town was notified that there was problems over there. If we're not going to do it right away, we should do some remedial things over there, including the opening up the door that goes from the main entrance into the courtroom. That's not ADA compliant. Subsequently, somebody in a large wheelchair can't go even in the courtroom unless
So the
they go through
interior
the ramp.
access into the courtroom, you're saying? So inside, not the outside door?
courtroom proper, they can't get into, so we should enlarge that door. Both bathrooms, the stalls in there, they can't get a wheelchair in there. They should move 'em. What I'm saying is we should do some temporary repairs. I remember the original idea was we are going to keep that building up so it wouldn't be wasted money, because whoever goes in there, it's going to have to be done anyway. I despise the fact that we're ignoring ADA compliance. And when right in front of us, we have an electronic sign put up, which was what, $29,000? In the meantime, a person in a wheelchair can't even get into the courtroom. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.